big shout out to our listener.
Our one listener.
Yeah, thanks, honey.
Yeah, thanks, honey.
Thanks, honey, for listening at home. And actually, we're now a national phenomena. We get hate mail from all over the country.
All right,
That's wonderful.
The dad jokes are already starting off thick and gross.
Many of the best stars in the business have turned us down. So that's something to hang our hat on.
We're getting there. We're getting better every day.
Yes.
Every day. So how's Karina and everybody doing in the family?
Awesome. Karina's junior year at Texas State.
Junior year, doing the backside stuff, right?
Yeah, doing performance and production.
Performance and production. What's
just finished stage managing. So it's both. It's playwriting, it's stage managing, and being on stage. She actually... they did She Kills Monsters last fall.
Oh.
And she was the lead. She was Tilly in that
I'm not
one.
surprised.
Yeah.
That is a great program, Texas State, too.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about them. It's
largest,
one of the tops in the nation.
Largest state university theater program in the country after NYU. So it's second after, just in terms of number of students.
Gotcha, because state university.
Right.
So specify that again. Largest state university musical theater program.
Right. Not just musical theater. Design, they do everything. They took at USITT the Kennedy Center design things and everything. They took home 23 awards for She Kills Monsters.
Is that a lot?
Huge.
Okay,
So they won not just a bunch of individual awards, but they won like the team award. Their production was the most awarded design, like single show design in the entire region for this year.
Okay,
yeah, it was awesome.
Cool. Because you say throw out a number like, 23.
Yeah.
But if there were 4,000 awards, that's not that many. So I didn't know if it was like there's only 25. Oh, wow. That's better.
There was like 40, and they took 23 of them. They took over half.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They did. And so she's been stage managing. She's been doing a lot of writing too. And that's the great thing about a performance, its production and performance is you can write, you can do the backstage stuff, you can be on stage, and it all counts towards your major. So it's not as specialized.
She had a very broad background at Texas State. I just know that from a musical theater standpoint that it's one of the top schools.
But they have the full BFA in musical theater, they have the full BFA in acting, they have the full BFA in design. Like they have all the different area
I didn't know it was
disciplines.
such an artsy-fartsy school.
Well, it's in Austin. So it's Texas, but it's not Texas. I don't know.
It's not the University of Texas, which is also in Austin.
Yeah. But they're in San Marcos. They're a little south of Austin, but they're, again, great program. We've traveled down for a couple of shows at this point, and it's great. Yeah, it's
very
wonderful.
Cool. All right, well, it's all about her apparently. The rest of your family doesn't get any coverage now.
Deb's awesome, and Deb's doing costumes for this.
There you go.
Emma has been working at CTW and doing other stuff around town.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, you guys are listening to Stage Door Theater Podcast hosted by a couple of average guys, and today we are talking to Maumee Valley Country Day School. Only the second time that they've come on because we just can't fit everybody in. That's the other thing I want to say to everybody who does listen. Please get a hold of us 2 months out of your show. If you're going to want to come on and promote your show, please come and tell us 2 months out so that we can schedule you to be on the recording a month out so that we can drop your podcast at least 2 weeks before your show to maybe help push some of the ticket sales and do that kind of thing. But we are blessed in the fact that we have a lot of love for theater in this area, and we have a lot of people that want to go and be on the show and listen to this podcast. So we're very, very lucky in that regard. And you guys are doing what show? You guys always do some unique shows.
Yes. So our show for this spring is Alice by Heart, which is by Steven Sater and Duncan Sheik.
Ron, you've heard of this show?
Ever done in Toledo before?
No. We are actually the second production in the state of Ohio. It was done in Cincinnati back in January. I traveled down for that one as well. We're about the 40th high school in the country. The rights were just made available end of last summer, and it's the rights are only available for a limited time, so it's only for productions this year and next year.
Oh, then what are they doing with it? Putting it in the Disney vault?
I don't know. So the show is unique. I'll talk a little bit about the plot in a second, but it was off Broadway in 2019, just before the pandemic, and then when that hit, it may have missed its shot on a Broadway transfer. my sense is that they're putting it out to high schools for a couple of years so that then they can build some more momentum and possibly
get a little buzz out there.
Yeah.
Figure, what's this show?
Because it was
there?
written by big time.
Was
Right.
it? Ron Cheats. Ron is our guy who actually comes prepared sometimes. But had you heard of this show before you did your research on it, Ron?
No, I haven't.
No.
It's
What's it called again?
Alice by Heart. It's by the same team that did Spring Awakening.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
So it's big time.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
I did not know that.
And it kind of has a little Spring Awakening in it.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the closing song was originally written for Spring Awakening.
Oh, it's a musical.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Musical. Yeah. Plot wise, I'll give you the back of the napkin for the plot.
Make it quick. I got 2 other people here to talk to. So
It's set during World War II during the
you
Blitz.
two. We're talking about you two. Exactly. They're pointing to each other, all being slick. I'm sorry. One more time.
No, not a problem. It's set during World War II during the Blitz in a London tube station where everybody is sheltering from the bombs. And
That's a subway station, in case anybody doesn't know what a tube station is. And only because my son has an Irish who went to London roommate who calls it the tube all the time. Boom.
And so the people who are sheltering there, one is a young girl, Alice, and her best friend, who, in addition to suffering injuries in a bombing, is also sick with tuberculosis. And so it's all of these people sheltered there. And to help comfort him, Alice reads Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. All right.
And so all of the denizens of the tube station then become the different characters in Alice in Wonderland. For example, Bella, who will join us in a second, plays the Red Cross nurse.
See, I was wondering because I just automatically went with Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
And I just assumed because you said you were going to have Alice and you said you were going to have the Red Queen here with us. And who's Alice? Who's playing Alice?
I'm Alice.
Who's Alice? Who's I'm? Becca? Thank
Becca.
you. Becca who? What's your last name, Becca?
Weingarten.
Becca. Okay. You sound like you should be singing pop songs, Becca Weingarten. So you're playing Alice, and I assume you had no idea what the heck the show was either, right?
No, never heard of it. I don't know a lot about musicals, but they're interesting once you get to know them.
Is this like
You don't know a lot
you've
about
only
music?
done a few, or
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah? You're not a hardcore theater junkie like Ron and I are and don't know every single show out there and all the musicals?
No, you can talk to Bella about
Bella's
that.
the hardcore chunky?
You don't. So how many shows have you done then? Do you know? Since you're not hardcore, do you know it's like 2?
At Maumee Valley, I've done maybe 5 or 6.
That's pretty good.
That's
you
more
were
th-
acting
more
like
than
you
us.
didn't do anything and you did 5 or 6.
More than us.
And what grade are you in?
I'm a freshman.
And you're a freshman. All right. Well, you are.
Yeah.
Was it disvalidated, unvalidated? We're not going to validate that you don't do musicals and shows because you just outed yourself saying I didn't do. And you're only a freshman. You've already done 5, 6 shows. That's better than Ron.
And Bella's a star. She's done 30 shows.
I've done, this would be my 12th show.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
All
that's
right.
twice as many. You're twice as many as poor Becca over here. Who's only a freshman. Are you a freshman too, Bella?
No, I'm a senior.
You're a senior, and you're playing the Heart of Red.
The Red Cross nurse or the Queen of Hearts.
Red Cross nurse. Okay, so what is this? So we are gonna have to back up a little bit, maybe get a little bit of context on what this show is, Mr. B. So what is it? Go ahead. Let's do
So-
or unless you want Bella to tell the story.
Of Alice by Heart?
Yeah.
Come on now,
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr.
This-
B kind of went into it a little bit. But through Alice's grief, each of the characters represents one of the stages of grief. So like there's 2 kids that are always doing adult stuff.
What's that mean?
Smoking.
Oh, jeez. I thought you, I did not think
I'm
of
sorry.
smoking when you said adult stuff.
No,
You were thinking
I don't
Spring
know.
Awakening.
Yeah. I was.
No. And we've given all of those characters backstories. Every
I mean,
ensemble member
Pugsley
has a
Adams smokes. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's adult stuff, I guess.
And they would be the caterpillars. So it's the what is that
Stage of grief is denial.
Yeah, denial. The first one.
So the caterpillar is the denial
Right.
character.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are metaphors. They're using the Alice in Wonderland characters as metaphors for the stages of grief.
And the grief is
right.
she's a teen, and it says budding teen life about to start, and now it's all bombed and blown to bits.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Where did that come from?
And
During
her
the
friend.
Blitz.
And her friend is in the process of dying.
Yes.
So it's also she's 14. The coming of age part of it, the stages of grief part of it
Grief.
is part of the layers of it, and then you have the real world of the bombings and everything, and you have Wonderland.
Okay,
and so it's
so
all throw all
Wonder
that on
what?
stage.
Wunderbar? Is that what you said?
Wonderland.
Wonderland. Okay. So you said the first one was Caterpillar?
Yeah, the caterpillar.
Okay, explain that one a little bit. Break it down for me. I'm trying to figure out how the connection is between Alice in Wonderland and being a caterpillar and being grief.
So the caterpillar, in terms of denial, it's you can just ignore it. If you take a puff of this, it all goes away.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that connection.
And then when you get to the Mad Hatter, it's anger, and her friend Alfred tries to make her mad so that losing him will be easier. And so each of these things as you go through.
Okay, so
I'll let you
so
talk
somebody,
about some of the abuse heaped upon you as
so
Alice.
somebody named Alfred is the person who is dying.
Yes.
Okay,
Alfred-
who's playing that? Who's playing that role? That's got to be a pretty hard role.
Kevin, he's a junior. That's also the White Rabbit. So Alfred and the White Rabbit, like Bella said, that they are
his
the
time,
Red
he's
Cross
always looking at
nurse.
his
Running
clock
out of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They kind of
smart.
the characters go together.
Okay.
Okay, so his time is always running out, and he's always in a hurry and trying to get these things. So who's it again? I'm sorry, who's playing it?
Kevin,
Kevin.
Alfred, and the White Rabbit.
Kevin is Alfred and the White Rabbit.
Yes.
And so he's got to really be this immersive guy, probably then, right? It doesn't sound like it's a comedy at all. So
No.
It's warm and touching, but
yeah,
deals with grief and loss.
yeah. But I mean, he must have to really tell me about Mr. Kevin. Is he able to get in there and pull all these things out that he has to? Because sometimes it can be easier if you're just singing about something goofy as opposed to something that's obviously intense that he has to pull out from somewhere.
Kevin is a very good actor.
Okay.
I think he's likes comedy and he's pretty good at that, but this role is a little bit more challenging for him, but he's doing a very good job of being a little bit more grief focused and sadder sometimes. And there are parts of the show that have comedy in them, but a lot of what Alfred is doing is the not as comedic parts.
Right. I mean, it's obviously, I think everybody likes comedy more. I mean, it's just the way we all want to laugh and be happy. We don't want to have to maybe confront some of these things that are real. You know, everything in life can't be happy, so sadly.
So as the Red Cross nurse or the Red Queen, are you evil? Are you bad? Are you trouble?
Yeah, good question.
I would argue no. Biased a little bit. There's a song closer to the end of the show called "Isn't It a Trial?" That's a Queen song. It's more about how Alice is kind of growing up, and nobody really wants to grow up in Wonderland. So a lot of it is, isn't it a trial to try and stay a child? The world no longer fits, and still you're stuck in it. So it's a lot of just pointing out, like, you are getting older, and what are you going to do about it? So I don't think she's necessarily a villain. I just think that it's...
She sounds like
Yeah.
she's dealing with her own stuff, her own stages of
she is.
development.
She
too.
is. But
Yeah,
I
because we
think-
all would love to go back in time and just be a kid and have no worries anymore. But that's not how life works either. Stages. We all have stages. So he has stages of grief, stages of death, stages of life. Whoa!
Yeah,
I think I might be
and
making some connections here.
But it's not a boring set. You're stuck in a tube.
Yeah,
It's
So there's also a lot of the story that takes place in Wonderland. So Alice is able to transform the tube station into Wonderland using all the people in the tube station as the characters, which is how you have all these people having, like, Alfred and the White Rabbit. They're the same person. The Red Cross nurse and the Queen of Hearts, also the same person. And they're all going to Wonderland with Alice, and so some of the set is used as different things depending on whether or not we're in the tube station or in Wonderland. at
Okay,
times.
I'm a little concerned. I'm going to tell you my concern. My concern is, Mr. B, are people going to know that it's not Alfred, but this time it's the White Rabbit?
Yes.
Okay, because
Yeah, there's
I
lots
get I get confused easily as an audience member sometimes. When I saw Peter and the Starcatcher, I wasn't catching everything. You know, the first time I saw it, and I was like, "What's happening here? Is that supposed to be Peter? Is it going to be obvious enough?"
Yes, it's going to be obvious. You know when you're in Wonderland. You know when you're not.
like
and
the set gets
well.
weird.
We're doing mostly with lighting.
Yeah, well,
It's-
that counts. That counts.
Yeah, so the set itself, the real world. I'm leaving that intact as I go, and we'll use a lot of lighting. We have some new toys in the building.
Oh, nice.
We have some moving lights that do patterns and do colors.
Did you get that last year?
No, these are new.
I know you guys just got
online.
new stuff
We
last
did.
year.
We
so.
we got new microphones. We got new things like that. These are high-end professional instruments that we're going to be able to do a lot of tricks with,
Nice.
which is going to color and direction of light. And yes, I was sitting in Hadestown at the Stranahan going, okay, I can take that. I'm sorry, no, not take. I can be inspired by that in my
Steal?
lighting
I mean,
design.
yeah.
Steal like an artist.
I'm going to
right?
copyright infringe. I mean, no,
Yeah.
that's not right.
Ooh, that's a pretty angle and color.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And so we'll do a lot with lighting. And the other thing is, it's obvious. There are moments where the real world intrudes on Wonderland through bombing, through air raid sirens, through
Makes sense.
Alfred starting to cough. He is, he has a lot of energy and is going as the White Rabbit, and then suddenly that spell is broken for Alice when he starts coughing or collapses, and the medical team comes in and drags him back to his bed or out to be treated. All of those things kind of happen that breaks the spell.
Makes sense. I mean, so the lighting and mood will change, obviously, to help the audience figure out, okay, and we're getting into you got to make little sounds, go anything like that? No?
Yes.
Okay.
No. We're doing soundscapes too.
Oh,
and
nice.
We're pulling out all the stops.
Nice.
In terms of theatrical tricks and
so it
different
makes it a
things.
little easier. Like, okay, they're kind of going in. They're going into make believe a little bit here to help cope with the situation. I assume cope with all the situations that are going on.
Going into a rabbit hole.
Well, I mean,
to escape.
look at
down
you.
the hole.
Literally.
Look at that.
Okay.
I mean, not to. So you have this person who's growing up and getting and changing through everything. You have a person who's dying. You have all the bombs going on. There's a lot of coping mechanisms, obviously, going on in this show.
And so the author wrote it, Stephen Sater, book and lyrics. He was in an accident as a young man, and he talked about how the stories that he read sustained him. And that's part of where Alice by Heart comes from, is in times of challenge, we are sustained by the stories that we read and the stories that we tell. And so that's where Alice goes in this particular case, in this particular situation or group of situations. She is sustained by Wonderland. And that's her connection back to how do I deal with all this that's going on.
So I got handed a postcard here, a little shout out, basically. What do you call this, Becca or Bella? What do you call it?
I don't know. They're just postcards.
Little
I guess.
postcards, a promotional postcards on this, and I'm looking at it going, oh, okay, everything they've just described is on this postcard. It's very, all right.
Just
I
read
can
it
see this. I'm like, I can
we'll be
see,
done.
but I can see the visuals in this now, and it's really, makes more sense now that I see what I'm looking at after listening to it. I will say, though, I've said this before, I love coming on the podcast and not knowing crap.
Yeah.
And then listening to everything that's going on, I'm the guy who doesn't finish watching trailers if I don't want to watch it because I don't want to hear any of the show notes and stuff. I want to go to it and just be like the first time hit with this emotion. And so if you see some bald fat guy in the audience crying,
And that's
me.
Will we cry? We'll bring tissues. Okay.
Yeah, it
we
sounds
will.
like this is a tissue
but
show.
for Alfred, it's Alfred. Will he escape and have a happy ending?
No, what the
I guess you'll have to come
Yeah,
see
no,
and find
that's
out.
definitely a spoiler.
He goes into the rabbit hole into Wonderland, and that's how he.
I want to hear
Maybe
Bella.
it
Bella, how
is.
did you? So this is your senior year. You said okay. So when Mr. B came up to you and said we're doing this show, how did you react? Were you like, I hate him. Why would you pick this weird show I don't know about?
Well, I kind of live in his brain,
Oh.
which is very scary sometimes. There was
I
a
like
lot
seeing
of,
his posts on Facebook and observing them.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm going to steal that one.
There was a lot of deliberation last year, and it
Good
came
word.
to a point where it was if Come From Away rights were gonna come out, or we were gonna do Legally Blonde, and we.
Wow, those are totally different.
No, we were never going to do Legally Blonde.
She was going to do it.
No.
Cats.
No,
Cats?
no,
Yeah.
no. But
Bella's not blonde, so I don't know why she's fighting for legally blonde at all.
but then Mr. B was talking about Alice by Heart. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then the rights got released, and it's like, yeah, we're doing this next year. Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, do you get to dance? There's dancing.
Yes.
Dancing
right.
in this little tube.
There's dancing.
That's good.
Because they're dancing in Wonderland.
Yeah, how do you find though? I was just curious, like, so when he tells you this show and he says we're gonna be doing this show, and you're like, I don't know this show. How do you prepare for something like this when you don't even know what to do? I mean, like Legally Blonde, there's a movie, there's a second movie we're fighting for dog rights, there's a musical. We all know what Legally Blonde is, and Elle Woods is everywhere. But this show, Mr. B throws a curve at you and says we're doing this one. How do you prepare? What do you?
I mean, I wouldn't know what I was doing either way, so it doesn't really matter to me.
You've never seen Legally Blonde with Elle Woods?
No, I was told I needed to, but I never did.
Oh my god, you guys. So what did you do then? How did you prepare? It's just weird to me that, because I would be thrown. I would honestly be thrown if somebody threw this at me and said, this is what we're doing.
I listened to the music a lot. My sister got really into it, and a bunch of the other people around me were listening to the music, and it was pretty good music. And we would listen to it on the drive to school or just randomly around the house whenever I was like folding laundry. So that was kind of how I started getting into it. But then, yeah.
I want to hear both you guys.
Yeah, like Becca said, our theater program gets very, very attached to soundtracks. They are constantly playing, and I think part of that is
what a bunch of theater dorks.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's what we do.
Guilty.
Listen, if you saw my Spotify end of year, that's all it is. That's all it is. So.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is also
I
'cause
say
we're
that in a
friends.
loving way.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, it's just one big friend group. So like when we're riding in the car together, it's, hey, let's put on Alice by heart, and then it's just like karaoke. But I also I read the original book by Steven Sater.
Oh wow, look at you.
Because Mr. B gave it to me. It's like, this should be good for you. And I'm like, okay. But we also have a lot of conversations. I spend like 75% of my time during the school day down in the basement.
Oh, you're the one he made the post about.
Unfortunately,
Continue.
yes. But yeah, it's a lot of, I'm gonna, like, going on the stage, I'm gonna put the wall right there, and then the light's gonna be up there, and like, I can see it how he sees it in his brain, but I can't see it, and I just, yeah.
I love that. So I make fun about like him posting and stuff, but I love that you guys have what sounds like obviously a very positive relationship with the director and with Mr. B and the whole theater department in general seems to be getting along. And because, I think that is more of a unique thing when it comes to the arts in general. So you have like the band kids who always want to eat their lunch in the band room. And then, and theater's the same way. You just don't see that. There's not a lot of kids hanging out with the English teacher, sadly, at lunch. So
the other thing I'll say just in terms of show choice is I brought it into the room last spring at some point, and I said, this is one thing I'm considering, and hey, go listen to it. Tell me what you think of it. Wow. So I am not the drama teacher who does like the bracket of 16 and whittles it down and announces it. As I'm deciding, I'm saying these are the 4 shows I have on the table, and this is what is interesting to me about them. And I like ask them to listen to things and like, is this interesting to you? Because I mean, as a theater director, if you open auditions and nobody's standing there, then, and it's the same thing opening night. And that's, talking with you is wonderful because on opening night, we've gone through all of this work for months and we open the doors and we hope somebody's there. Like you're interested in this kind of story. And it's the same thing with auditions. If you open up for auditions and none of the kids like the music or they don't like the show or they don't understand why are we doing this show and why aren't we doing...
Is the music the same person who wrote Spring Awakening?
Yes.
Just
Get
so, out of town. That guy's like really good.
Yeah, so it's not
I'm listening to this
typical.
After you guys leave.
It's not typical Broadway music, which is another thing.
No, he's a pop singer.
Yeah,
that guy's a pop star. He wrote
Barely Breathing. Is the
I am barely breathing. Something. You know the rest of it, right, ladies? Yeah. No, me either. I don't know what to do. That's why I stopped.
But yeah, so that's what his background is.
Yeah.
So the music is excellent and not a typical Broadway soundtrack. And Jessica Newman, who works at a number of schools around town, is our choreographer.
I know.
And
that
so the
name.
music, and so the
Ron, write that down. We gotta get Jessica Newman in here. I've heard that name too many times not to have her on the show.
Awesome. So her dance for it isn't like step together. It is much more lyric. We're lifting people up in the air and spinning them around and things like that. So it's a different style of
very
dance.
modern, contemporary that fits, and or I guess it'd be more lyrical. Lyrical is what would go with the lyrics. See how that works.
And so again, it's not typical subject matter in that it's more poignant. It's not typical music in that it comes from a pop background, and it's not typical choreography.
Was this only released for high schools also?
No, there are a number of community colleges doing
for schools though.
For schools,
so only schools.
It's amateur rights. So there have been some community theaters that are doing it. I was somebody who during the pandemic was definitely stalking and cattle prodding the publisher and the creators.
That seems like
during
something you would
this.
do.
Yeah,
It really does. I said, if somebody's going to cattle prod somebody, it's Mr. B.
It's like I wanted the show. Like I wanted to do this one. I had heard the soundtrack. I had
The fact that you've even heard of the show, I'm impressed. I mean, it's just like, what? Because I am on Spotify and I listen to musical theaters, all the soundtracks all the time, and my stuff always runs out, and then it goes on to, we think you might like this, and it's never popped up.
Alice by Heart.
Never. Not one time. And I've listened to some, I'm like, what is this? And I start listening to it, but that one, for some reason.
But yeah, I would recommend anybody just type in Alice by Heart music anywhere that you listen to music and listen to a couple of songs, and you're going to want to come out and see the show.
You're going to see the show, yeah. I mean, the story already has got me kind of hooked.
And Becca, what would you say it's rated? Is it safe? Is it family?
I think we've rated it PG, possibly PG-13. There are a few scenes with smoking and
They're smoking in Pinocchio.
And bombs.
and bombs, loud scary noises,
Okay.
and flashing lights.
Okay.
And my favorite line ever.
Wow,
Which is
I
what?
am offended by that.
Why is it your line, Bella? Not
Am I allowed to say it?
I don't give a turd. Go ahead and
yes.
say it.
Guilty.
Oh, that's not a big deal. I thought you were going to
I
say
don't
something
know.
bad.
It's her favorite. It's her favorite line.
It's so
Toward
fun.
me.
Yeah, I get
Oh.
to yell it from my little judge's bench. Just,
Oh, yeah,
All
well, you
right.
are the queen.
Yes.
Yes, you get to, and you are Alice.
Off
and
with
she
their
knows-
heads.
Yeah, off with their heads and all that kind of stuff. So when is the show? I want to make sure we get it out there to everybody.
April 18 through 21, 18, 19, and 20 at 7:30. On the 21st, we're at 2:30 matinee. So we do a 4-show run.
18th through the 21st of April.
Yes.
And I know they can go ahead and call the school, right, and get tickets. Do you have a website for this?
We do.
Yes.
We do have a website.
Okay.
It's mvcdstheater.com,
Oh, nice.
and that's theater RE.
Oh, you have your own website
We
now.
do, yeah,
Nice.
and so you can get tickets on there, and yeah, it's linked from the homepage from mvcds.org.
And do you have
as well.
a Facebook page just group for
We do.
for the theater department?
We do. We have a Facebook page for that.
So
too.
look up Maumee
Yep.
Valley.
Maumee Valley Theater. and
Maumee
it's
Valley
connected,
Theater
yeah.
in there, and we'll share it on our thing, obviously, too. Is there any other shout outs? So this one dude, he's got a hard role, obviously, Mr. Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah. Good luck, Kevin. I'm going to be watching you, making sure, because you sound like you got your part here. That's for sure. And Alice obviously has a great part, and the Queen has a great part.
Got the caterpillars.
And there's a worm in the show. It's gonna be the shiz. I mean, this show is gonna be everything, right?
Mad
Hatters and
Mad
worms
Hatter.
and
Yep.
hearts and off of
Cat.
their heads. Oh, there's a cat. That's right. I forgot
Yes.
about the
Yes.
cat. So anybody? I want to any shout outs, any names? Anybody out there helping with the show that needs to be told? Mom's sitting over here. Thanks, Mom, for bringing
Yeah.
Bella. Appreciate it. Anybody else? It brought Becca, probably, right?
Yeah.
The freshman. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Anybody? I don't want to forget anybody.
Again, Jessica's choreography, Jessica Newman's choreography is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
And it's
you
gonna be
doing the
great to see.
sets yourself then?
Yeah.
You always do the set. And you said your wife was helping with something?
Yeah, Deb helps with costumes. and
Costuming.
helps
She's
us
been
on-
doing costuming there for years too, right?
Yep.
Doing all. You got a whole costuming department, don't you?
Yeah, we work with all sorts of student designers. We also have students. Max Oberlin is our lighting guy. He's a sophomore, and I think he's on his 7th or 8th show.
Oh, yeah. See, I want to
Yeah.
make sure those guys get a lot of credit too. All those people making
Yeah.
costumes, shining the lights.
And
Yeah.
Echo Behringer, who's running 14 wireless mics, and is just sitting there, hands never stop moving the whole time, and mixes the
What
show
is
live.
it? What's the name again?
Echo?
What a cool name already.
Yeah, who they're
I
in the
got
booth
I
and
got
they're going, man.
held down with a name called Kyle, and this person got Echo.
And
Life is not fair.
small school.
Oh yeah.
So half the school is in it, right?
Yeah, and also people should just go to the show, not to just see these wonderful performers in the show that it is, but just to sit in that theater.
That theater.
That theater is just cool. Just go. If you haven't gone to see Maumee Valley Country Day Theater show, go. Just go, sit in the thing. You're gonna love it. It's just a unique, fun environment to even just enjoy a show, and it's very personal. It's a very
Yes.
personal space, and this show is obviously a very personal show. So I think you guys are made for it, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.